filming video for the first time this year, first time in a while, on the 690, because 790's died, yo. Around 690. Which is thoroughly badass. And I'd like to be on the 790 right now. So what happened to the 790? The motor died. So if you're watching my previous recent videos, if you recall, I was having a starting problem with the 790. Well, it turned out that the problem was because of valves, and that problem arose because of the Rottweiler intake, which was not filtering, and so the motor was full of dirt. If you go on avvrider.com and search for 790 Rottweiler intake dirty filter or whatever, you see all the issues with the Rottweiler intake and all the starting problems that the original intake for the 7890 caused. So anyway, so I was one of those. And so my 790 wouldn't start, and as a result I had the valves adjusted, and then it started working. No, I want to film video. And so as a result, I got the valves adjusted, but when they went to adjust the valves, they said it was full of dirt. The motor's full of dirt, and that's because the Rottweiler intake was not filtering. And so, in fact, the Rottweiler intake was performing much worse than spec. The Rottweiler sold it and said that it performs better than OEM, filters better than OEM, and in fact it filters much worse than OEM. It's a piece of crap, is what it is, and it was trashing motors, including mine. So my motor got trashed as a result, because then after I got the valves adjusted, about 300 miles later, the valve dropped, and trashed the motor. So the drop valve went through and destroyed the motor. And then I had extended warranty. And then the extended warranty people came and looked at the bike. They said, oh, it's got dirt in the motor. That is what we believe called the most motor to fail, so we're not going to warranty it. So, justifiably, I mean, they're in the business of not fulfilling warranties. And so, of course, they look for any reason not to do that. And the Rottweiler intake resulted in dirt in the motor. And as a result, 790 motor got trashed and was eventually toast. I did buy a new motor to replace it, and not new, but a used motor on I found a motor on eBay. Found a 790 adventure motor to replace it. However, that motor also turned out to be full of dirt, so I sent that one back. Now I'm looking for another motor. I'd like to get the bike fixed. I do like the 790 a lot, 890. So I might buy an 890. Find a used 890. Put my transfer my stuff onto that bike. So that's a saga. The 790 and the crappy Rottweiler intake. Not recommended. So since then, I removed the Rottweiler intake from all my bikes. Actually had it on 4 bikes. So since I removed the Rottweiler intake off of all my bikes, because when I looked at I had it on the Super Duke. When I looked at the Rottweiler intake on the Super Duke, it was also full of shit. It was also full of dirt and crap, and that's a street bike. So that's a dual disappointment. And then on the Super Duke, what I also learned is actually the Rottweiler intake makes less power than OEM, because the OEM intake has a ram air effect with the snorkels that the Rottweiler intake eliminates. So actually, I dynoed the bike before and after, and there was an 8 horsepower gain from putting back the OEM intake compared to the Rottweiler. 8 horsepower. It's fucking crazy, yo. That's a lot. 8 horsepower. So then I removed it off the 690, both 690s, this one and the Supermoto. So Rottweiler intake 3. And I have no intention to ever buy another one, much less buy anything from Rottweiler ever again. I think they are a disreputable company. I think they lie. I think Chris Parker is just a glorified sales guy. And so anyway, that's the Rottweiler story and the 790 death. So I really would like to buy something different than KTM. A 10RA would be great if the 10RA had more power, better suspension. I mean, the suspension on my 790 Rally is fantastic, and I can't. It's really hard to give that suspension. So, It's freaking awesome. It's WP Pro suspension on the... Hey, all the suspensions on the KTMs right now, because I got WP Pro component on all 4 bikes, are just outstanding. The Super Duke, this bike, I've got the 450 Rally, the KTM 450 Rally Flex on this bike now. I might do a video on that whenever I do a video on these different bikes. And so, suspension on these bikes are so good, so good. Yeah, there you have it. That's what I got, yo. Enough of that.